Just after Yerushalmi Pesachim in the article Ozo edition, we're going to start from the top of this line out. We got a little bit down into it, but we'll start from the top. Rabbi Shimon Omer, and that in the Vilna is on Daf Yudal, about the fourth line down. Rabbi Shimon Omer, Kol Shein B'Kares, any comments in which there's no kares involved. So there, in Boba Los I say there's no Los I say on it. On the after Pesach, then there's no Issa Los I say, as opposed to Rabbi Yehuda who had said that somebody eats chametz both before Pesach, after the 6th hour, and after Pesach, there's a Los say without a chorus, but a Los say deraisa. Rishon says no, there's no Los say. But Rishon ba'aser shu aser. However, Rishon does concede that it's aser. Yisur ma, what is the Isser? Rabbi Yirmiyah Mar Yisur Dvar. Rabbi Yirmiyah says the Isser is the Raisa. Rabbi Yonah, Rabbi Yisur Tavim, I mean, Yisur Midavrayim, no, this is only the Rabbanan, not according to Rishon, not the Raisa. If this is the Raisa, the Korban explains to see Ach B'Yom Rishon Tashbisa V'chulei V'hanim Sheishos L'mala. Ach B'Yom Rishon Tashbisa is from 6 hours and above. Came in Tzarech Lashbisa Kodem Sheish, since you have to remove the chametz before the 6th hour, the advent of the 6th hour. Shamir also b'achila. It must be also b'achila. V'lava abba mikla asay, but it's a asay. Remove the chametz from before the 6th hour ensues, and it's a lav, which is derived from an asay. It only has the status of an asay. Lachas ma'akonzano, and after the chametz shel pesach is a similar status. The Yisur Midivrayim says it's a fine. Over by Rabbi Motzi, since he violated by Rabbi Motzi. And so therefore, I think I said before, Chametz of a Goy, no, it's about Chametz Yisrael possessed over Pesach. Again, it's going to be Issa the Rabbanan after Pesach, because the Chametz over Pesach. A knas for only Chametz over Pesach. My time Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda, however, who says that it's the Raisa, before and after Pesach. What is his pasuk? Lo yachal chametz hayom. Chametz shall be eaten today. Mana kayom. What are you talking about? One of the article takes that over here also. So he doesn't take it out in the text, but he takes out in the note. He says it seems that it's a mistake because it's not directly linked to the drasha. Okay, so mana kayom imatoch if it's about during Yom Tif, Kfar Ksiv, Lo Chalav Chametz says don't eat chametz. Of course, the full pasuk is Lo Chalav Chametz, Shivat Yomin Tochal Matzos. So the starting with Korban Pesach for the next 7 days, you're not allowed to eat chametz, only matzah. So that tells you you're not allowed to have chametz. Maybe it was talking if it's not talking about the during Yom Tif, it must be going even after Yom Tif. And telling us that after Yom Tif also it is there's a prohibition on the chametz of the chametz which he saw was not mevayer. The Gemara says, "My kind of Shimon time Rabbi Shimon lo yechal chametz hayom." How does Rabbi Shimon do with this pasuk lo yechal chametz hayom? So pasuk Rabbi Yisrael, he learns Rabbi Yisrael tiny Rabbi Yisrael Rabbi Yisrael says, "Omer I say Shalei Pesach Mitzrayim El Yom HaChavavad." So he does do Zayom, and that's why it appeared before, even though it wasn't necessary for Rabbi Yehuda's drasha. It's necessary for Rabbi Shimon's drasha. He says that you're not allowed to eat chametz today, right? But so the full pasuk is Lo yachal chametz hayom atem. That's actually the end of the pasuk. Then the next pasuk is hayom atem yotzim b'chodesh aviv. Right. So today when you're going out, so that day it says Mani shlo pesach mitzrayim yom echad bilvad. Shloimar lo yachal chametz hayom. Hayom means this day, when the day you are you're leaving Mitzrayim. Okay, going on to a new issue. Lo yireh lecha. It says chametz shall be seen for you. Is tiny lo yireh lecha. Those who say lo yireh lecha. L'cha ain't roa. You can't see your own chametz. You can see chametz gava. So we already had the kachim is beach. You might actually be over by your right because you're chayav in the chayes. We're talking about here. It seems to be at this point by kachim be'ek abayis. Okay, we'll see if that holds true. But the Korban says roa lo gava imik disha be'ek abayis. Each time I feel a kavod. Does it say even a kavod, even if it belongs to a kabais, you're over leira. So Gemara says, man damar ain't adroeh. Sorry. So we want to say it's not machlokas. The man says that you can't see your own chametz. You can't see the chametz of be'ekabais. So shiktisha kolam biro. So when you makdish it before the time of the biur. So Korban explains kolam sheish for the 6 hours. Azeh shalom. The tov is hekdesho. Then you the hekdesh is effective because you could make it hekdesh because it's yours. Manda marafilu gavod. He says that even the kachibet kabais is by ra. It's shekdish lacha biru. So makdish after biur, as he says. So korbanesh oz ena b'shusa lakdisho. It's no longer yours to makdish it. That's why you're over because it's not really bet kabais. It didn't take effect. The Rabun Bachir said no, it's possible. It's possible that it's different learners do it differently. Tipater explained all the tiny feel. Tipater explained as Korban says all the tiny feel that it's also even though it's hekdesh is bekachim shuchai b'achrayuson. Now we're getting back to Kachim Mizbeach. So he says, Kachim Shechai Bachru, and as I was learned before, similarly, it's going to clear, but too, but Kachim Shechai Bachru is going to Harei Alai. So you Chai Bachrais, so therefore it's under your jurisdiction, because you're responsible for it, therefore you are by Matzeh. And it's going like Rabbi Shimon. Kachim Shechai B'Chriuson, Rabbi Shimon says, "Karmei the Sober B'Kama Yod Kachim Shechai B'Chriuson Kidi Dei Damyon. Kachim Shechai B'Chrais is like yours, but Tavai B'Tish couldn't be but they both were in Makish before Biur. So the when you're not by Motzei is Kachim B'Kabais. The one you're over by Motzei is Kachim Mizbech. Where Chai B'Chriuson you said Harei Alai you have to replace it. Okay, a new elaboration. Lo yireh, lo yelecha. The East Tani lecha einad roeh. So those who say you can't see your own chametz, roeh apepaltaya. You can see it in the plaza. Which here, of course, is Rishus Harabim. So Korban says Chavar Shalir, the plaza of the city where people get together for commercial activities, which is the Rishus Harabim. He's tied those that feel paslaya. Even in Rishus Harabim, you are over by Ra. What is the distinction? Man mar lecha ein roat paltaya. He says you can see it in the plaza. It's b'shev kiro kolam biuro. It's where you're mafkir before the time of beer when you still had the capacity to be mafkir it, right? So it's no longer yours. Man amar afil paltaya. He who says that even the plaza you're over b'shev kiro acha biuro. When you can mafkir after the beer, as Korban says, v'oz eino b'shus lafkiro. You no longer have the jurisdiction over the mafkir. As we know, it's not brought down in Yerushalmi, but we know the famous Bavli. Two things are not under the person's jurisdiction. The Torah considers them as if they're under his jurisdiction, but only in order to be over on them, in order to be held responsible for them for the violation, which is chametz and bar b'shus harabim. So both of them are not yours, but you're responsible for them. But since it's not yours, you no longer have the capacity to mafkir it, and therefore you're over by Motzei. The only thing you can do is eliminate it. The next line, Amar Bun Barachia, Tipater Kachim V'Gomer, it's taken on by the Korban Eda, and most of the other Mefarshim, including the article, but in the interest of full disclosure, we should note that the Or Sameach and Perital Hilchos Chametz and Matzah Gimel explains how it fits in here. Don't think I'm actually going to say it over. I'll just reference it briefly. That he says difference between your own chametz, which is in a platia, and chametz and hektish platia, because your own chametz in a platia is no longer yours because it's over the men we call adam, but your chametz of hektish, which your chaim and which is the platia, is still yours. Why? Because kol hechad ika beikaz the rachmana ika. Wherever it is, it's still in the treasury of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So therefore, the concept of avi medical adam, which makes something which is in a plaza not yours anymore, it's as if you're misyoish from it, and it's automatic hefker. It applies to your chametz, but not to the chametz of not the kachim, where anyway it's beigaz rachmana. It's a Kosh Baruch Hu's treasure, wherever it is. That's how he sustains gears and saying that the difference in the two opinions, whether in the platia you're over or not, is whether it's the Maman Shalcha, which in the platia it's no longer yours anymore. It's a hefker medical adam, or it's your kachim, which in the platia, which is actually still yours because wherever it is, it's still in the treasure of Kosh Baruch Hu. Okay, let's just sit over. It says more further. Hivkir chemtzo b'shlosh you were mafkir your chametz on the 13th. Lacha Pesach Mao. What's its status after Pesach? Sorry for the brief gap there while I was turning off my alarm. Let's go back. Hifkir chemtzo b'shlosh asar. You mafkir chametz. Get in, right? You mafkir, it seems, before Pesach. Lacha Pesach Mao. What's the status of this chametz you mafkir after Pesach? Rabbi Yochanan aser. Rabbi Yochanan says it's aser. Shem Lakish Amar mutter. Shem Lakish says that it's mutter. Very strange, right? So, Meisi Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Shem Lakish, Rabbi Yochanan, let's see how this develops here. Meisi Rabbi Yochanan, Shem Lakish, Rabbi Yochanan, Shem Lakish, ain't that mightily Mishesho Saman Shu aser? Don't you consider me that after 6 hours it's aser? Right, so that's okay, and it's also after Pesach. It's very cryptic. We'll come to see what Gilin Hashas is a minute. He said, "Tam isugar amlo." He says there the Isser caused it to be aser. My islach here. What are you going to say? Okay, so let's see Gilin Hashas. This is the what do you mean say? Came the ain't over by Yirah at Alayla. You're not over by Yirah until nightfall, right? In came in the Mishesh Umal Aser Banoah Minator. So since it's 6 hours and beyond, it's also Noah being the Raisa. Vavkas Lamako, because Baruch Hu removed it from your possession, away from before Pesach. Can he over by Yirah? Balayla by Yirah. Hayrav by Yirah after nightfall. Hurry, move go. It's already hefker. It must be that you're over even in hefker. And therefore, even your mafker on your gimel does you no good. You'll still be over by Yirah. Hefker is not a valid form of eliminating by Yirah by Motzei. Presumably, it's still in your house or a Pesach, I guess. You didn't go. Your mafker or it's still in your jurisdiction. Your mafker doesn't do any good. Shani, and therefore the Rebbe Shlakish says Talmud Yisur Malo, and he brings that Gemara we referenced before. Bavli, in the Bavli it says Shtei Dvarim B'Chulei Asarakas Kilein B'Shuso Yischayvelein. The Isser doesn't help you because it's still yours to be mischayev upon it. Masha'enke befkiro, as opposed to mafkiret, dotzim rishus, you remove it rishus when you were mafkiret. That's your Shem Elok's response. He says the type of hefker caused by the Isser, and then of course also you can't do anything with it, but it's not the same type of hefker caused by your actually mafkiret. When you're actually mafkiret, you eliminate your association with it, and not by Motzei. When the Isser is mafkiret, it's still in your rishus leaning by Motzei. The Ridbaz does not like that pshat in the Gemara, but the Shankim Shila brings them from the Meiri, a similar pshat to the Gina Shas. I'm going to read you what he says. It's not quite the same. It says, Rabbi Yochanan saying, Minastam ifkiro, since the Isser is imminent, Minastam you're mafkiret. V'abrigin lachar Pesach also, yet nevertheless, after Pesach it's also. And that Armale Tami Sur Garmalo Klamar Shava Bishmafkir Bedaito. Even though you're mafkir in your mind. Ain't Rishus Lafkir. It's not in your jurisdiction to be mafkir anymore. Isu Shifkir, the Isu is mafkirit. Nifka. So how is your association eliminated? He was mafkir and Gimel is permitted. And this is true, but anytime you are mafkir, not just your Gimel, but even your Dalad, anytime before the Isser ensues. So of course, the Yerushalmi brought down previously. We saw yesterday Rav says that bittul is affected by chometz, right? So the question is whether Rabbi Yochanan agrees that bittul is effective. He just argues on hefker, or Rabbi Yochanan holds that no, hefker and bittul are the same thing, and therefore, just like hefker doesn't work, bittul doesn't work. Okay, this is the Baz doesn't mean to have it's the same person, obviously, have an arichas in it, but okay, we're not going to see that. Should point out that when we say the kol chamira, we say libotel leheve hefker for the ara. So it's a complicated nusa what exactly it means, but it could be that bittul and hefker are two different things. And even Rabbi Yochanan, if hefker doesn't work, maybe bittul works, but maybe not. Okay, so that's an open question from the Yerushalmi here. The article does address this issue on Tezayin Bay's note, page 1, note 2. Not with any. That time I paused to turn off my alarm. Not with any definitive understanding. It's just an interesting deal, but not anybody. Something which requires more alumnus, and obviously that we're going to speak about it. Okay, so. I'm Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Pinchas. Rabbi Yossi said to Rabbi Pinchas, "No, do you remember? Karavina. I mean, when we said ask Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yossi, that Rabbi Yochanan sees to go like Rabbi Yossi, that it's that hefker is not effective until it reaches the hands of the person who picks it up. Until then, it really still belongs to the original owner. It's just that another person has the right to pick it up, and Rabbi Shimon Lakish holds the Grand Mayor that hefker takes effect immediately. That's not the pshat of the Korban Eda, but it is the pshat of the Pnei Moshe, and it's brought down the Shara Korban, and evidently it's the Ramban and the ArtScroll as well. So the Korban Eda links it to a different machlokas, Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yossi. Enokin, it's not true. Ella, Rabbi Yochanan Rama. So the Gemara says no. It's a different issue here. Rabbi Yochanan's concerned with harama. That when you're mafkir, you're not mafkir b'leiv sholim, and therefore it's not true hefker, and therefore even if you hold, he call it like Rabbi Meir, the hefker takes place immediately. But he says it's not real hefker. He wants the chametz around. He wants to keep it. So therefore, this is just harama. Is just using a ruse, and it's not a fact. It's not true hefker in his heart, and therefore it's not valid. Shemalach is not chayshish. He's a person is sincerely being mafkirid. It's not a question. Manav baneh. What's nafkamina between the two of them? Nafla alav mapolis. A case where an avalanche fell on it. So man maharama. If the concern is a ruse, leis kan rama is no rama because obviously it's gone. Right? It's under the avalanche. So therefore, it's for sure, even Rabbi Yochanan, it's going to be okay, definitely gives up hope, and it's no by Rabbi Maimon. But according to opinion, if you go the whole line, it's not hefker though somebody else is zoich in it. So here, nobody else is zoich in it when it's on the avalanche. So according to the man, leis kan schia v'aser, and it's going to be aser after Pesach. Hakom moedim beger shemesu bizuzu yisrael nechasav. Everybody agrees with a ger who died before Pesach, and of all of his property becomes hefker, and the Yisrael take it, but they take it after Pesach. They don't take the property before Pesach. Obviously, Pesach is going to do him any good. Obviously, about his heart, which is chametz. So the bizuzu yisrael nechasav means they looted his property. So he had no heirs. They took his property after chametz. That it's after Yontif, it's a mutter because Mandamar harama mutter. Mandamar, there's the issue of harama. There's no issue of harama. He died, right? So therefore, it's true hefker. Mandamar is zechia, and of course, when I call mandamar, it's not hefker. It's not hefker until somebody is zeching it. Well, that's where there is somebody else to be where it's still connected to the first person. But again, here he died, so therefore it's mutter koy opinion as well. Okay, Tamatin, we learned over there. Where is this? In Gittin. Eved Shaso Rabo Lacherim, an Eved who is made by his master a designated collateral for a loan for somebody from whom his master borrowed money. Vishicharo, and the owner released the slave. Mishresvin and Eved Chayvklum. According to the letter of the law, the Eved doesn't have to give anything. He was released, and the release is Mafkiyim B'dei Shibud. It eliminates the slavery. Eliminate tikkun olam, but in order to fix the world. Covenant Rabo also so ben chorin. We compel the master ben chorin. So I jumped the gun before. I said the master is Meshacharim. That's not clear. It seems contradicted by this. Right? It seems that the person who got him as collateral is Meshacharim, and the master has to make him Ben Chorin. So the word's going to discuss that. So the Koisev Shtar Al Domav. And the Eved writes an IOU on his value. And again, the question is to who? Rashid Omer Eino Koisev Ela Meshacharim. The Eved does not write the IOU. The person who released writes the IOU. Okay. The word says, Mi Meshachro. Who's doing the releasing here? Rav Amar. Rav said, Bein Rabo Rishon, Bein Rabo Achron. So says the Korban Bein Rabo Rishon the Shichur Mafkim de Shiba, like I said before. Therefore, that's valid. Bein Rabo Sheni, or the second master, came to Hilva love since he was designated collateral. So it's as if it's here, it's his. Okay, so therefore both of them can release him. The release is effective in the sense that it starts this process, puts this process into effect. Only the first master can truly release him. As the Korban says, because he owns the body of the Eved. It's only a lien, L-I-E-N. It's not actual ownership. Our mission seems to argue on Rav. How so? It says, Yisrael loaned money to a guy on his chametz, right? It didn't actually acquire the chametz. After Pesach, muter b'anoia. After Pesach, it's muter b'anoia. Now, even though the guy made the chametz collateral, nevertheless, muter b'anoia, we see that the fact that collateral is not considered to be owned, right? In Temeshus Yisrael, who was going to say it's collateral is its own. Yeah, also, it should be also, right? Because collateral is now owned by the Jew. So if you're going to say that the Eved is owned by the second master because it's designated collateral, so here the Chametz should be also after Pesach because it's designated collateral. Says Gemara, well, not necessarily, because it was collateral. So the Gemara doesn't distinguish here between apotike and not apotike. We're just talking about collaterals. It doesn't matter whether it's designated or not designated. So what does Taka Rav do with our Mishnah? Right, it's a leniency by release, as Korban says, even though it's not completely his. Im shichuro mahani. If the second master released him, it works. The mischayvu mitzvahs. In other words, they said, okay, it's true, mikra din shouldn't work, but we want slaves to be released, which is a fascinating idea, because normally we say alone, but avodu, right? Our body not supposed to release. It's not so simple. They're complex values in Chazal concerning Shichur, which is Korban is pointing out here. So therefore, but it could be that it's korban without the korban eda's idea that we want it to be meshuchor, but it could be it's like an issue that it looks like shichur. It's a maras ayin issue. The article avoids that korban eda's issue because he just says but to Pnei Moshe, he says. Goes to the Pnei Moshe, who says that since by shichur, again, like I said, it goes on the Eved, it has a shem ben chayrin, so therefore Chachamim compelled the first master, even though Mikra Din still belongs to him, to also to give a shtar shichur. So that way he avoids that korban eda's issue of shichur possibly being a positive thing. Okay, the Gemara goes on and it says that really over limit here because we're on Tez Yud Zayin Ralph, but just one more line. What's the evidence that this is a special halacha by Shulchan Aruch Tani Hosa Avdo Apoitiki? So he makes it a designated collateral Mecharo Eno Mechor. If it's sold, it's not a valid sale. Meaning the first master can't sell him, right? But Shichur raised him Shulchan. But the first master released him, he's released. So we see that there's a special halacha that by Shichur we're more lenient than by sale, and evidently that indicates that Shichur we bend over backwards. You can't sell it, but you can mishachar it. Okay, it's a little bit difficult. That's as the article points out because the name of the near. Because that's the first owner who belongs to Mikra Din, and they're really. So we see the opposite. The Chachamim were machmir by a poitike. They can't sell it, only mishachar it. So evidently he changed the gear. So I guess he has it somehow going on Rabo Sheni. But nobody else brings it down. In any event, like I said, we went overboard. We're going to go to next Rabbi Yochanan, who's Einu Mishachar Rabbi Rishon, but Bilvad, but we'll leave that for tomorrow.